Hey, welcome back. I am American Jesus, and today I want to talk about my opinions. These are my opinions. Anyways, I did want to talk about the one part of the 12-step fellowships that work. There's one part of the 12-step fellowships that work, and if you've been lucky enough to attend meetings that are not completely broken and run by complete fundamental narcissists, then you may have run into these types of meetings before. And to be honest with you, most of the fundamentalists, if you have some and a meeting starts to go in this direction, they will destroy that meeting in order to weed out this one portion of the meeting that is actually successful. And what that is that when you get clean, when you get sober, because it's the same thing, clean and sober are the same thing in reference to the 12 steps. So just to make that perfectly clear, they are exactly the same thing conceptually. But when you are new, or when you're not new, you need friends. Friends who don't do dope. Because all of your friends do dope. And you also need friends that you can talk to about why you did dope and some of the things that you did while you did dope. And that these people will accept you regardless of whether or not you did terrible things. You see, I firmly believe, and this is my belief only, that addicts are, or alcoholics, whatever you want to call them, are particularly good individuals. Because I think that part of the reason why we have to do dope so much is because we have an overactive conscience. And so that we do things that other people might think like, oh man, I stole from my employer. Everybody steals from their employer. Or lots of people steal from their employer, be it I'm going to take an extra 10 minutes on my lunch. I'm going to leave early. If you can get away with it, you can steal from your employer. And you know what? That's your job. It is your job in a capitalist society to get over on your employer, just like it's your employer's job to get over on you, at least the way we run now. So don't feel so bad if you steal from your employer, just don't fucking get caught. I'm self-employed, by the way, and I steal from myself all the time. Anyways, so one of the things that I believe is that for a lot of people, a lot of addicts, things like this that most people do, or they lie, or they deceive, or they manipulate, is really part of just American culture. It's part of kind of our society. A cop pulls you over, and you're like, yeah, I was doing 700 miles an hour. And he says, do you know how fast you were going? And you're like, I don't know. What's the speed limit through here? Because that's what you're going to say. Because you know that you don't incriminate yourself because nothing bad happened. Why would you tell, oh yeah, I was going 700 miles an hour, and you're like, yeah, I didn't hit anybody, nobody got hurt, and I probably shouldn't drive so fast. But you don't want to have to pay a ticket over it. The problem is that addicts, they have this compulsive obsessive component in their head, and so when they do something wrong, it just bothers them. And it bothers them, and it bothers them, and it bothers them. And then they'll get caught up in other people's shit, too, that bothers them. But the thing that makes an addict, in my firm belief, in my opinion, is that kind of repetition of the repetitive reps of just going around and around and around, and it won't shut up, and blah, 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 blah. And that's where they're like, well, you should pray about it because blah. The problem with addicts, I believe, is that we have this overactive conscience. that allows us, that basically kind of incites us to do drugs and to alleviate ourselves from the terrible feeling of being the horrible people we are, which are just regular people. Yeah, maybe we did something or another that was terrible, but most of the times that was drug-induced anyways. Or maybe we did some stuff when we were young that we feel terrible about. And I guarantee you, that's everybody. You know, you're not any different. But what we need when we get to the fellowships is we need somebody to talk to. And that's the only thing that actually offers any relief. The steps are a bunch of bullshit. They're just a bunch of bullshit. They're bullshit. I basically had to, I worked the steps like 7 times with like 5 different sponsors, you know. And I guarantee you, in the 22 years that I was going to meetings, I met other people who had worked the steps many, many times, and they were still struggling with the same stuff. I had a therapist that I worked with for like a year, and I feel so much better. Because, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. Regardless of what your meetings say or your sponsor says, there's nothing wrong with you. Everybody is terrible and everybody is amazing. It's just how we are. That is one of the things that I was lucky enough to find when I got into recovery, when I was new in recovery, was that I found a group of people that had considerable amount of clean time for me. I had like under a year, and these people had like 10, 12 years. Very much going to industrial concerts, going to just crazy stuff. We just did crazy stuff, and it was amazing. We just supported each other, and we would if we were going through something, we would go over to someone's apartment and hang out and just cry or whatever, or get angry. And if we didn't feel any better, we would call somebody else, and each different person had a different kind of opinion about what we were going through, or had a different take on it. And then we would do that for other people. And you know what? I stayed clean. And then I came down to Texas, and in Texas, these people are insane. They believe literally that the book has some magic, mystical hocus pocus, that if you fucking read it the right way, that it's going to keep you clean. And they're so mean to each other, and they're so negative to each other, that if someone like starts crying in a meeting because they feel bad about something, they will attack them and be like, this is not the place for blah. And it's like, where the fuck is the place? And then I can't come here and I can't complain to my sponsor, because my sponsor's a goddamn freaking conservative jackass who is like, well, you should just be grateful that you have a job. You shouldn't worry about what your employer's paying you. You should go in and thank him every day for giving you a job. And you're like, so here's an idea. Why don't you go fuck yourself? Nah. I said that on birthday night one time. And this is a perfect example. So it was birthday night, and I think I was celebrating like 20 years or whatever. And I got up in front of everybody, and I was talking about support. I was talking about supporting each other and understanding each other. And one of the things that you hear occasionally in meetings is like, I called my sponsor, and my sponsor told me that I said, Jimmy Joe Bob, I want to use. And you know what he did? He hung up. I managed to call him back, and I said, why'd you hang up on me, Jimmy Joe Bob? And he said, well, because you said you wanted to get fucked up, and I ain't got no drugs. And I was like, and then I said, well, here's a thought. Why don't you go fuck yourself? And that's what I said in the meeting when I was picking up my medallion. And I swear to God, like everybody was like, what'd you say? And because I was doing this, I was like just speaking straight from the heart, which don't ever do that in a meeting of Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't ever speak from the heart, man, because they will jump on you and eat it and devour it in front of you and then laugh at you afterwards. But my point is that as someone with time, as opposed to hanging up on somebody and of course, Jimmy Joe Bob didn't know none of the things about no catharsis, but trying to give them some cathartic moment where they could realize that, I'm not, I don't know because they never explained why they would do that. My thing was like, oh, well, maybe it was supposed to induce some type of cathartic moment where they would realize that, oh, yeah, I don't want to get fucked up. I called my sponsor because I wanted to stay clean, and he hung up on me so it would make a memorable impact on the way that I talk, and that I would focus more on positive, clean stuff whenever I was talking to him and get out of that mentality of negativity. What? What'd you say, man? You're just talking nonsense with the round and round. So yeah, that's obviously not what he meant to say. But my point being is that we need people that understand us. Not intellectually only, and intellectually helps. We have a lot of smart people in the program. They generally don't stick around very long because they're smart. And if they don't find a meeting that does not patronize them and does not talk down to them and does not try to convince them of some weird mythology, then they generally leave because they're like, yeah, these people are idiots. Because they're idiots. Yeah, there is one part, and one of the reasons why I truly despise 12-step fellowships is because they don't realize this. They don't realize this one truth, that the program itself is a bunch of crap, that they can offer support for people who want to stop using, that would actually be helpful as just a support group of people that would get together and just talk about and share with one another and go out and do things clean and sober, same thing. So I wish it was more of a social group. I wish it was more of a dating group, where people would get together, support one another, talk to one another, share stories, share, victories and share their tragedies, and stay clean through all of it and support one another through that. I think that would be an amazing place. Too bad it's not Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous in this area. Because that would probably help a lot of people. Anyways, thanks for watching and listening me talk with my mouth. And if you would like to hear more, then go ahead and subscribe and then click the blah, 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 the little bell button, because otherwise they won't notify you unless they're going to make money on the video, and they won't make money on any of these videos. They're always not monetized because of the nature of the videos. So, and I don't do that anyways, generally. Although it would be kind of nice to allocate more time to this and other endeavors, but that revolve around basically an honest opinion of the 12-step fellowships, because I think that's very important right now. But thank you for listening. Thanks for coming by. Jimmy Joe Bob loves you, and your mom too. She's kind of hot.
of something big. Do you think that what you did would bring you back to this?